Hi, thanks for using my court coach. I'm Sarah, and I'll be your instructor today as we talk about how to obtain documents through the subpoena process. There are a few steps we're going to go over. Starting with step one, you need to determine if the documents you're requesting are consumer records or employee records. If they are consumer records, and those are phone records, insurance, financial services, school records, bank statements, credit card statements, or if they are employee records, then you will also need to, on your deposition subpoena form, set the response date to the subpoena out at least 30 days and also serve the consumer or employee whose records you're requesting with a notice to consumer or employee and objection form. That's form sub-010. If the records are not consumer records or employee records, then you do not need to use the notice to consumer form, and the date to respond to your subpoena can be at least 15 days out instead of 30. Step two, you're going to fill out your deposition subpoena for production of business records. We will have a separate video on that that discusses how to fill out that form, but it is going to not only identify who you're requesting the records from, but also include a description of the documents you're requesting. You will need to get this stamped by the court clerk. If you're an attorney, you can sign the form yourself as an officer of the court, but if you are self-represented, then the clerk needs to stamp the form, and that makes it so that it has been issued. If you are in a county where this form is required to be dropped off and will be processed later by the clerk, you want to set out your response date far enough to allow time, or the extra time that you will need to get the form stamped and processed. The next step is to serve the consumer or employee with the notice to consumer along with the stamped copy of the deposition subpoena. If the consumer or employee objects or files a motion to quash, then the witness is not permitted to respond to the deposition subpoena. In that instance, you would either file a motion to compel, which would be no later than 20 days after service of the written objection, or file an opposition to the motion to quash. Step four, assuming there is no opposition, then you want to wait at least 10 calendar days from the date that the consumer or employee was served, if by mail, 5 days if the consumer or employee was personally served, and then you can serve the custodian of records with the notice to consumer, again, if necessary, if that was used, along with a stamped copy of the deposition subpoena. The service date on the custodian of records must be at least 15 days before the production date. Step five is to wait for the documents. If you are not in a rush, I always like to give a few days beyond just these bare minimums that we have gone over, but those are the bare minimums that you do need to provide as far as service and ample time to respond. I hope you found this helpful. Good luck.